She texted, "I can't do this anymore." Then I found her packing a suitcase for his place. I never thought I'd read those words on my phone. I can't do this anymore. 3 short sentences that felt like a gut punch, the kind that knocks the air right out of you. I stared at the screen for what felt like hours, my mind reeling, trying to piece together what was happening. Was this a joke? I checked the timestamp again. It was real. I hadn't imagined it. I texted her back immediately, my fingers trembling, but my thoughts were scattered. "What do you mean? Please talk to me." I stared at the screen, waiting for a reply. My thumb hovered over the keyboard, ready to type more, but nothing came. I kept checking the phone like it would magically change, like I could somehow undo what she had already said. But there was nothing. Then, I heard her footsteps down the hall. It was only a few seconds, but it felt like a lifetime. My heart started to race. I stood up, but my legs felt weak, like I was about to collapse. My mind kept flashing to the text, to what it implied. She didn't look at me when she came in. Her gaze was focused on the suitcase in her hands, and there was something in her eyes I couldn't quite place. Guilt? Relief? Defeat? I couldn't tell. But I knew something was off, something was wrong. I couldn't keep the panic down any longer. "Lena, what's going on?" My voice cracked when I said her name, and I hated myself for it. I was trying to sound calm, trying to hold it together, but I couldn't. "Why did you send that text?" She didn't answer at first. She just kept packing, carefully folding clothes and placing them inside the suitcase like it was just another normal day. I could hear the soft rustling of fabric, the click of the zipper, and it felt like a scene from a dream. A nightmare. I couldn't understand how this was happening. I swallowed hard. "Where are you going?" I asked, my voice growing louder with every word. Finally, she stopped, but only for a moment. Her eyes met mine briefly, then she looked away again. She bit her lip, clearly trying to hold back something, but it was already slipping. "I'm going to Michael's," she said quietly, her tone flat, like it didn't matter, like it was nothing new. Michael. The name hit me like a sledgehammer, and I felt the world tilt under my feet. Michael was a guy she worked with, a co-worker. I knew they were friends, but I didn't think. No, I couldn't have imagined this. "What do you mean? Michael's? You're just leaving like that?" I barely recognized my own voice. It sounded raw and broken. "What about us?" "About me?" Her eyes met mine then, and for the first time, I saw something like regret flash across her face, but it was gone in an instant. She shook her head. "I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say." She stepped toward the door with her suitcase in tow. I grabbed her arm before she could leave. No, this isn't how it ends. You owe me more than this." My grip tightened without thinking, my pulse thumping in my ears. She tensed, looking down at my hand around her wrist, and, for a second, I thought she might say something, anything to make me believe this wasn't really happening. She didn't. "I can't do this anymore, Ben," she said softly, her voice breaking at the edges. "I can't pretend. I haven't been happy for a long time, and I've been seeing Michael. I'm sorry." And just like that, she walked out. We'd been together for almost 4 years. 4 years of shared plans, inside jokes, weekend getaways, and love. At least I thought it was love. We had lived together for the past 2 years, talking about future plans, buying a dog together, joking about getting a house eventually. I thought we were in this together. I thought we had something solid. But now, standing in the empty space she left behind, I realized that all of it had been a lie. The weight of that truth crushed me in ways I didn't even have words for. I kept replaying the conversation over and over in my head, trying to find the moment where I missed the signs. Was it when she started staying late at work more? Was it the distance I'd felt in the past few months? The way she'd been so quiet, so withdrawn at times? Maybe, but I hadn't questioned it then. I was too focused on the day-to-day, too focused on my own stuff, on work, on the bills, on life, too oblivious to the slow unraveling of everything that once felt real. I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to think that maybe she was just confused, that maybe this was all a mistake, but I knew better. The way she said I've been seeing Michael left no room for doubt. She was already gone. She had been for a while, and I just hadn't seen it. The worst part? She wasn't even apologetic. Not really. She said she was sorry, but there was no real emotion in her voice when she said it. It was as if she'd already made up her mind, as if I was just the last person to know. I sat down on the couch in the living room, staring at the empty space. The suitcase she'd left behind still sat by the door. I couldn't look at it. I couldn't look at anything. My mind was spinning. Michael. The name kept echoing in my head. How long had this been going on? Had she been seeing him the whole time? Was he the reason she was unhappy? Did I not matter enough anymore? The questions kept piling up, one after another, until my head felt like it might explode. I didn't know what to do with myself the next few days. I was a shell of the person I had been just a week ago. I avoided people, friends, co-workers, anyone who might ask about her. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to explain how I'd been blindsided. But I couldn't stay in this state of uncertainty forever. I had to face it, whatever it was. I didn't reach out to her right away. Instead, I spent hours scrolling through her social media, trying to piece together the timeline, looking for something, anything, that would help me understand why this was happening. And that's when I found it. A post. A picture of her and Michael, taken just 2 days before she left. She had tagged him in the photo, "Best night with my favorite person." That stung in a way I didn't expect. The words felt like daggers because it was clear she had already moved on. She was already living this other life. She didn't care that I was still stuck here, trying to figure out how to breathe without her. I didn't reach out to her after that. I couldn't bring myself to. There was nothing left to say. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just broken. It wasn't the betrayal that hurt the most. It was the realization that I had never truly known her. And as much as I wanted to confront her, to demand answers, I knew something deep down. She wasn't coming back. She wasn't going to change her mind. I was just the person she was leaving behind. And she had already made her choice. So I did the only thing I could do in that moment. I let her go. Part 2. The days that followed felt like a blur. I couldn't even tell you how many hours I spent staring at the walls, unable to focus on anything except the wreckage of my marriage. The house felt empty now, silent in a way I had never noticed before. I couldn't help but replay everything over and over in my mind, like a broken record. The last few months with Lena seemed to flash before me in a way I'd never seen them. I was suffocating in the weight of it all. I didn't hear from her for the first couple of days after she left. At first, I told myself she was just giving me space, that maybe she needed time to think, time to process. But that was a lie. I knew it was a lie. The silence stretched out further and further, the days blending into one another like an endless fog. I tried to go to work, but it was hard. Every time I stepped out the door, I felt like I was leaving the last remnants of my life behind. I couldn't even look at my coworkers without feeling like I was living in some alternate reality. I had to take some time off. I couldn't function. On the 3rd day, I finally got the courage to reach out to her. My phone buzzed with the message. Her name lit up the screen. My heart jumped into my throat. It was Lena, but this time, it wasn't a text. She had left me a voicemail. The sound of her voice felt foreign now, like it was coming from someone else. "Ben, she started, her voice shaky. "I think we need to talk. I don't know how to make this right. I don't know if I can, but we need to talk." I didn't listen to the rest of the message. My mind raced with all the possible things she could say. Was she going to apologize? Was she going to say she made a mistake? I didn't know. But I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't do this over the phone. I needed closure. So I called her back. Her voice sounded distant when she picked up, but I could hear the hesitation in it. "Ben, hey." "Lena, what's going on?" I asked, the words slipping out before I could stop them. "Are you coming back?" There was a long pause. For a split second, I thought she wasn't going to answer. When she did, her voice sounded smaller, quieter, like she was struggling with something inside herself. "I don't know," she said softly. "I don't know what's going to happen. I'm so confused, Ben." I didn't know if that was supposed to be reassuring or if it was just her trying to make herself feel better. But I couldn't take it. I couldn't keep pretending that everything was okay when I knew the truth. She had already made her decision. "I think I need some space too," I told her. "I can't keep doing this. Not like this." "I understand," she replied, her voice hollow. "I don't want to hurt you, but I need to figure things out. I think Michael and I think we're." But I cut her off. "I don't need to hear it, Lena. I already know enough. You don't need to explain it to me." I ended the call, and for the first time in days, I felt a small sense of relief. It was painful, but it was final. There was no more denial, no more pretending that we could fix this. I had to let her go. The following week felt like the longest of my life. My mind couldn't stop spinning, and I couldn't stop thinking about the future. About my future. Everything had changed so quickly, so completely. I had gone from planning a life with a woman I loved to facing an uncertain world alone. The future I'd imagined was gone. I spent the week clearing out my things. I packed up her clothes, the ones that had been hanging in the closet for years. I had to do it. It felt like I was being slowly suffocated by the memories of her, and packing up her things was the only way I could breathe again. I didn't want her things around. Not now. Not like this. It felt like a betrayal to keep them here. It wasn't just the physical things. It was everything. Our life together, the plans, the promises, the love that once felt so real. All of it was gone, and I was left with nothing but the echo of a relationship I thought would last forever. Then, just when I thought I couldn't feel more alone, a message came through on my phone. It wasn't from Lena. It was from Michael. I froze, staring at the message, not sure what I expected. His name on my screen felt like a slap in the face. My heart raced, and for a moment I debated not opening it. But curiosity got the better of me. I tapped the message. Hey Ben, I know you're probably not ready to hear from me, but I wanted to apologize. I didn't want to hurt you. I never planned for things to go the way they did with Lena. I just want you to know it wasn't my intention to come between you two. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I stared at the screen for what felt like an eternity. I didn't know how to feel. I should have been angry, right? I should have lashed out, told him everything I was feeling. But I didn't. Instead, I felt empty. Michael's apology was so hollow. He wasn't sorry for what he'd done. He was sorry for how it had all played out. He wasn't sorry for breaking my trust. He was sorry he had to deal with the fallout. I didn't reply to the message. There was nothing left to say. The weeks that followed were long and lonely. Lena and I didn't talk. I didn't chase after her. I didn't try to get answers, because I already knew the answer. I wasn't the one she wanted. She had made her choice. And as much as it hurt to admit, I had to accept that. I spent the next few months rebuilding my life, piece by piece. I moved to a new place, found new hobbies, reconnected with friends. Slowly, I started to find parts of myself that I had forgotten about. I had buried so much of me for the sake of our relationship, but now I had to figure out who I was again. It wasn't easy. I still had moments where I'd find myself thinking about Lena, wondering if she was happy with Michael, wondering if she ever thought about me. But I knew one thing. I couldn't keep living in the past. I couldn't keep holding on to a version of her that no longer existed. And so, I let her go. It wasn't easy, but sometimes the hardest thing to do is to let go of the people you thought you would never lose. And in the end, I realized that I was going to be okay. I had to be.